Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. My name is Nurul Atika binti Anwar with metric number A17A0555. At a quick glance, I would like to state that this study is about determinant factor of student perseverance of e-learning in University Malaysia Kelantan. This study is completed by determinant of course delivery, tutor attribute, facilitating condition towards perseverance of e-learning. The undeniable significance of e-learning in education had led to the massive growth in the number of e-learning process and courses that offering different type of service. This article had proven because in 2011, the most learner that taking online classes once per week is 37.7%. From that, this study will define the use of e-learning still widely used with pandemic COVID-19 that encourage students to taking online classes. Next, I will be proceed to the objective of this study. This study primarily aimed to determine the efficiency of e-learning. According to the research objective of this study were to identify the course delivery that increase student perseverance, to determine the tutor attribute significantly influence the learner satisfaction, to study the facilitating condition that can support and assistance given to user to integrate technology.
Okay, let's move on to the research method. For our research design is based on descriptive research in order to investigate and gather the information on the features of the particular issue. Moreover, we also use quantitative method because quantitative method is more accurate, faster and easier to collect the data. Okay, next is population and sampling. Our target population is students from faculty and entrepreneurship and business that in the fourth year who have been used e-learning as a tool for their study. As for the sampling method, we are using convenient sampling as a sampling unit. Our total population is 753 students, and we will narrow this survey by taking a response of 254 respondents according to Craigie and Morgan. For the data collection method, use primary data and we gather the data using a Google form which is being distributed to the student, and we have spent 2 weeks to get the data. And this data analysis is using a SPSS software version 26.
So, I will present about result from my research that has been run in SPSS. Based on the table descriptive statistic above, the mean number of perceived usefulness of e-learning is 4.114 that show the most of respondents agree with the perceived usefulness of e-learning. Meanwhile, the mean score for course delivery is 4.269 show the most of the respondents also agree that the course delivery can highly bring factor student perceived usefulness of e-learning. For tutor attribute of independent variable, it show that the mean is 4.224. It means that the respondent agree tutor attribute can be the factor. Next is the mean score of facilitating condition show 4.058. Next is for Spearman correlation analysis is the course delivery has moderate positive correlation with the perceived usefulness of e-learning. The Spearman correlation test coefficient was 0.53c. The finding that show that there was a moderate positive correlation between these two variables. This implies that the relationship between these two variables is strong and significant. This can be concluded that course delivery affect the perceived usefulness of e-learning. According to Wahid and Hussein 2010 and Malik 2009, consumer that felt they needed to communicate with the teacher or lecturer to solve their problem. For tutor attribute has moderate positive correlation with the perceived usefulness of e-learning. Finding that show there was a moderate positive correlation between these two variables. This means the relationship is strong and significant. Therefore, this can be concluded that tutor attribute affect the perceived usefulness of e-learning, since hypothesis 2 is accepted. According to Timothy Teo 2016, if students take their tutoring class seriously and reflect on it, they will understand that e-learning is helpful useful and then that they feel sustained in their learning. Facilitating condition has high positive correlation with the perceived usefulness of e-learning. The findings show that there was a high positive correlation between these two variables. This can be concluded that facilitating condition affect the perceived usefulness of e-learning. See, facilitating condition is accepted. According to Grove, Zamel, 2000, there is evidence that facilitating conditions are critical for technology consumer, whether they are teacher or learner. It seems that if more assistance is offered, users are likely to improve the perceived usefulness of technology. Next, for table, multiple linear regression are used to assess the factors student perceive usefulness of e-learning on course delivery, tutor attribute and facilitating condition. For standardized coefficient beta between course delivery and perceived usefulness of e-learning is positive and insignificant, that beta is 0.62. The coefficient originating for a tutor attribute is positive and insignificant to perceived usefulness of e-learning at beta 0.65. The result also show a positive relationship between facilitating condition and perceived usefulness of e-learning at beta 0.61. All other variables is in the study explain perceived usefulness of e-learning among students in University Malaysia Kelantan City campus.
For discussion, the findings of this study prove that there is a positive relationship between independent variable and dependent variable can be modeled together with the aim of creating, construct, validating and path relationship. At a quick glance, e-learning had proven it beneficial to Malaysian students by the improvement of education system and increasing use of e-learning since pandemic COVID-19. For the conclusion, the result from the survey of 254 students at University Malaysia Kelantan support the expected hypothesis. This research has gained a significant influence and factors on the perceived usefulness of e-learning among university students based on technology acceptance model. There were also a significant found between facilitating condition towards the perceived usefulness of e-learning, and the correlation value is the higher is 0.671.